Good morning and welcome to today's live recording of Black College Matters here at LeMoyne Owen College. Our guest is a proud alum and current candidate for Shelby County Mayor. Today's conversation will focus on the Black College Matters podcast, in addition to his journey, leadership, and commitment to community, not campaign matters. In the spirit of fairness and educational dialogue, LeMoyne Owen College welcomes all candidates and public servants who wish to engage our students and campus community in meaningful conversation. Now let's begin. All right, now that we got that out of the way, welcome to Black College Matters. We are back at it again, and I'm your host, Dr. Seth E Davis, LeMoyne Owen's resident assistant professor of English and communication, as well as Memphis's resident scholar, socialite, and sex symbol. With that being said, I have a very special guest here today. I would call him LeMoyne Owen College royalty and Black College Matters royalty. I'm here with the Mickell Lowry. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you here today?
Oh, man, thank you. First of all, thanks for having me. I need an introduction like yours, quite frankly. I mean,
Everyone can't have one.
but I'm just going to start off with saying LeMoyne made me. You mentioned that, right? I'm so proud to graduate from LeMoyne Owen College. My father graduated from LeMoyne Owen College. It's deep-rooted in our family. I tell you, it's communities like this that help shape who we are today. So I'm so thankful, not only for LeMoyne Owen College, but quite frankly for South Memphis all in general. And so, but that's a little about me. I was married with 3 daughters who I love dearly.
Amen.
And I told them, I said, listen, you better make sure you're doing whatever you want to do, make sure you're getting scholarships and everything else. Because if I got to pay for college, I can tell you where you're going. It's going to LOC. So if they want to do someplace else, they got to figure out on their own. But that's just what it's about, tradition, love, and history. I'm proud that I represent this area from a county commission standpoint. I represent District 8, which is Soulsville, South Memphis, downtown, Frazier, and really all because I want to give back to the community that helped make me the way I am. And obviously I played basketball over here as well for the legendary Coach Jerry Johnson. So a lot of history over here in this college, man. So I'm proud to be here.
Definitely. And keep in mind, Black College Matters. So this is a podcast dedicated to historically Black college students and historically Black college culture all around the world. But specifically, it is housed in the Lowry Communication Center. And not just is it housed there, but your dad is still housed there as well. Every day that I go there to record, I kind of do a salute to Myron Lowry, both his pictures and his remains.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And, I don't want to get too sentimental on this podcast, but that was his wishes, man. And selfishly, I tell the story, during his last moments, I had a conversation with him. I was like, Dad, where am I going to take your children, your grandchildren, and say, this is Myron Lowry, and go pay our respects, right? And he just simply said to me, take him to LeMoyne.
Amen.
And so I couldn't find more benefit to have that done. I'm so thankful for the college president and the college for doing that as well, because they didn't have to. And that's where he wanted to be, and that's means so much to my family. So as long as I got breath in my body, right, and my children in the body, we're going to continue to make sure we're doing whatever's best for LeMoyne Owen College.
All right. Now let's get to the business of Black College Matters. So we are looking at a specific episode of A Different World, but thanks to a gigantic legend that just passed, I got to also reference the Citizen Wayne episode of A Different World. Specifically, Jesse Jackson was a guest on season 2, episode 21, called Citizen Wayne. Specifically, Dwayne Wayne runs for SGA president and basically gets washed, by a candidate that is far more appealing to the students. And Jesse Jackson basically comes through and is like, stick with it. You got to be committed to the work that you do. And keep in mind, this is late 80s, early 90s. We're fresh off of Jesse Jackson's campaign. And so the episode that we're looking at today, though, is called May the Best Man Win. This is season 5, episode 17 of A Different World. So what is going on at this point in season 5? Now, I know I don't need to refresh you, but for our younger whippersnappers. So in season 5, so Dwayne and Whitley have finally broken their engagement. So after all this hemming and hawing, this back and forth, they get engaged and then finally break up. And so then who comes to campus but the dashing Byron Douglas III, I was about to say LeMoyne Owen, a Hillman alum, a Hillman alum. He's coming to campus basically to campaign, but he walks up on a situation. So what's happening in this episode is that a larger company called the Burger Barge is trying to buy or take over the pit. So the pit is kind of like the cafeteria on A Different World or at Hillman. So it's interesting that we're sitting in LeMoyne Owen's cafeteria as we're having this conversation with the Mayoral Lowry as he comes back to, his campus,
No doubt. No doubt.
And so we're about to watch a short clip where one of the characters, Lena, aka Jada Pinkett Smith, confronts candidate Byron about his intentions at Hillman College. And I'm sure you get some stuff kind of like this often. So give me 1 second. Okay, let me give the people a little more prep. So in this particular scene, what is happening is that Byron is campaigning in the pit, and he's basically trying to encourage students to vote. And that is when he's confronted with Lena James, aka Jada Pinkett, who is basically, let's say, a little pessimistic about the power of voting. Okay. Of course you can't hear none of this. We'll try to look at it. And so the video isn't that loud, but our good alum is watching it, and he can tell what's going on. He's reading the subtitles. Because one of the things I think he's going to observe is these type of interactions happen with undergraduate students a lot, specifically apathy towards voting. So what's your reaction to Jada Pinkett or Lena James's response to being encouraged to vote?
Yes, it's very similar to what happens today. I'm really grateful and proud y'all are doing this well, because Different World is one of the things that made me want to go to college, quite frankly. We saw it on a weekly basis and we saw what college life could be like. But it's interesting because we're talking about a show, set in late 80s and 90s, and some of the same things are prevalent today.
Yes.
She basically says, why should I vote, right? It doesn't change anything. Nothing's different's going to happen.
Oh, and let me add this. I'm going to add a little more shade that she says. She says, politicians only come around when they want you to vote.
Hey, that's a good point. That's a lot of people say that. We only see it during election time. I get it. We got to make sure that we're being more visible, and we try to do that. I know I try to do that. But obviously, when it's election time, everybody else paying attention, right? You see signs on the street, commercials, and everything else. So it just feels like it's more engaging. But, we got to make sure that we're showing up all the time. But, the sentiments are very the same. Even when I was on campus, I was SGA president here. And
so was Byron Douglas.
No doubt. Similarities. I'm going to get to another similarity, too, talking about the burger joint and everything else. But what really people need to understand, or what we got to make people understand, is that what's in it for them.
Yes.
At the end of the day, everybody's here going to school for a specific reason. Maybe it's to find a career, find a job, make money, have an impact. So you're here because something's in it for you. Well, we got to turn voting into the same thing. What's in it for me, right? And that's why you really only see a lot of large majority of people voting are older. They have children. They're concerned about things as far as schools are concerned. They're concerned about taxes and all that kind of good stuff, which none of you got to worry about right now. However, the decisions that we make long term are going to affect your generation. The things, the investments we make here, the investments we want to make in world-class trauma centers like Regional 1, having to build new schools, having to do something about our jail and build a new correctional facility. These are all things that are going to impact your lives. These are all things that we can hopefully be a catalyst for growth in Shelby County that brings more jobs here, better paying jobs, do something about the poverty gap and everything else. So right now, people may not see what's in it for me now. We got to make sure we're making a case to say, hey, this is where it's going to benefit you in the future. And quite frankly, where you live, work, and play has an importance. And I don't want you all looking at other cities thinking there's not opportunities here. I get it. Nothing wrong with traveling around and seeing what other things have to offer. But I want to create an environment where you can say, I want to choose to be right back in Memphis because we have the opportunity here for you.
I agree. Now, A Different World can be a little PBS-esque. I'm just going to keep it real. So it's very preachy and on the nose. So, of course, by the end of the episode, he's able to save the pit from this notorious corporation, and it is still owned by Myron Gaines, at least for now. And so basically, Lena comes up at the end of the episode and it's like, I still don't believe in politicians, but I'll vote for you. So this brings us, now that we've gone through the pervasive pedagogies aspect, this brings us to the students themselves. Hey. So one of the goals of this episode is to encourage young people to vote. So my question for you is, what issues do you think the students should be worried about, engaged in, or what are some issues that y'all find that are important that aren't being discussed or that y'all feel should be discussed? The question is for the whole room.
Yeah, and let me say something here. I think what I think young folks should be concerned with, quite frankly, is where's the opportunity? Because that's what you're looking for. Before you may already have a family now, have family ties, but again, you're here for a purpose. This purpose is to use this degree and to go further your lives and do something else, right? To find your purpose. So in order for you to find your purpose, you need the opportunity. So where does the opportunity exist? And quite frankly, I'm just tired of hearing about other cities other than ours, thinking that it's the place you got to run to. There's nothing wrong with Atlanta, nothing wrong with Houston, Dallas, great cities. But at the end of the day, there's something that we have they don't. We're rich in culture, and we're on the cusp, right? You can go someplace that's saturated, right? A lot of people and everything else, or you can be a part of something that's on the ground floor, quite frankly, that's on the cusp of a lot of development to really get plugged in very easily. So I think that's what you be concerned with. Also, I hopefully think you're concerned with just what your community looks like. And I'm going to make some ties in with our episode here. It's not the pick.
It's there.
But anybody been to Johnny Mays yet? All right, cool. Johnny Mays is right around the corner. And the reason why I bring that up is my line brother and I, back in 2017, who's also a LeMoyne Owen graduate, saw this vacant place and vacant buildings and said, what could we do differently with it? And his mother, Johnny Mays, rest her soul, was a cook and worked at the post office. And he said, we want to build a restaurant, make sure, because we don't have too many food options around here as well. So we partnered up to do that. And something about making sure we're giving back and change the community. We got to be the change we want to see. We can't wait for people just to come into our communities and make those changes. Because quite frankly, it's going to happen eventually.
Yep.
You see how downtown continues to develop. Then now we're going to South City, where it's going to continue coming to South Memphis and everything else. So hopefully you're concerned what your community looks like. Hopefully you're concerned to say, how can I have a piece of that and to buy into that? I can start entrepreneurship very early on because it's ripe for that. So hopefully those are things you're concerned with, and those are the type of things I want to see be a catalyst for our growth in Shelby County.
No. Other questions, what are you guys thinking about? This is the great Lisa Williams, all right.
Okay, so the issues of your campaign, I just wanted to ask, is there anything in there about like environmental solutions like pollution, the XAI Center, all of those things?
Yeah. Hey, good question. Her question was about platform. Is anything about pollution and environment? And very much so. We got to make sure we're doing those things smartly. Like, there are two things can be true, right? Data centers aren't a new thing. There are a ton of those data centers in Atlanta, hundreds of them in D.C., right? It's new to us, and obviously this being one of the colossal, one of the largest ones. But we got to make sure there's legislation in place to make sure we're just doing it smartly, that the environment is taken care of at the end of the day. That's what's most important. I know we all get nervous and apprehensive when we talk about turbines and everything else and how that affects, and we actually live in a community that's seen that pollution before. So we got to be sensitive to that at the same time. So we can do two things at the same time. We can attract industry, and we can lean into it because, as you know, AI, what you all living in right now, I would say is the future. It's current, right? It's all changed the way we do business. It's changing the way we do work and life, study, and everything else, right?
Listen to some of these speeches, you'll know AI is real.
Well, there you go. It is what it is. It is what it is. But all right, so how do we get to a point where we're now not understanding, but getting to the point where we can drive how that works? And we should be able to drive that in our community as well. So two things can be true. We got to make sure there's legislation in place, which we haven't had, and quite frankly, it's new to us. That's what the county should be responsible for, because a lot of people don't know the county is responsible for health care. Healthcare comes from the environment standpoint. So we just got to give the health department a little bit more teeth, that they're just not rubber stamping things, and also keep the community involved. That doesn't mean everybody's going to agree, all right? I don't care what plan it is, whatever it may be. This is nothing new under the sun. When someone wanted to come build an auto plant, people were like, oh, pollute, whatever it may be. So now we just got to make sure that everybody has all the information up front, that there's legislation in place, that we can be at least secure that our environment and our aquifers and everything else are taken care of for your generation and my children and everything else.
I think there's a question over here.
You brought up a strong point when you was like you want to make Memphis have better opportunities. So one question I have is, what strategies are you implementing to make sure that after we graduate LeMoyne Owen that we can stay here in Memphis for better jobs?
Yeah, the question was what strategy we have here to make sure after you all graduate that we can stay here for better jobs. And I'm gonna tell you, I'll give you a little bit of my background. I've been at FedEx, man. I'm sound old to you, all right? But I've been at FedEx for 25 years. Okay, I'm an executive in that business. I started off unloading boxes, quite frankly, and risen to be executive of that company. What I'm going to make sure I'm working with the corporate community to make sure that we have more internship opportunities. I started my career from an internship, and I'm going to incentivize those businesses to do just that. Also, what I want to make sure is that the development I just told you about, it is a catalyst for growth, because there's nothing wrong with working for large companies. I just tell you I work for one, but we got to create the next. FedEx, AutoZone, International Paper, they were all once startup companies. Somebody once had a dream, whoever else, and scaled it up. Well, we need to do more for that, especially for businesses, folks who look like you and I, for minority-owned businesses, quite frankly, in Memphis and Shelby County. We're about 60% of the population, and it's not reflected in what we have from a business standpoint. It's not reflected what we do, who we do business with the county. So I want to really lean into internships, quite frankly, apprenticeships and everything else, especially with folks in education that graduate from college. But also, too, I want to incentivize those businesses to hire you at the end of the day. And what we also got to do is make sure we're increasing our collegiate population all over. Think about any major city. Atlanta, I go back again, Nashville and everything else. The reason why they're thriving is because they have a large collegiate population. That's one of the reasons. And so employers locate there because it's a pipeline for employment. If you got a business, you want to go where there are people to employ, right? So that's why you go to these major cities, because they have college population. So we got to grow the population at LeMoyne, all of the collegiate population as well. But I really want to lean into internships starting right off the bat for these employers to hire folks like you, and again, incentivized to do that as well. We're doing that somewhat at the county, but we got to scale that up across the board.
Well, all right. So it's about that time that we're going to wrap it up and land this plane. But
That was quick.
Yep, we're in and out. We are specific to the episode. You know, we keep the main thing here at Black College Matters, aka Magic 807. So be sure to follow Magic 807 on all of our social media handles, as well as Black College Matters. Thanks again to Brother Mickell Lowry, who came through and blessed us today. And then, of course, the Lowry family, who continues to bless us. Again, every day that I walk in and see his poster and his banner, I feel thankful that I'm able to use some of the materials and some of the resources for Black College Matters, and not to mention in my speech classes and my English 111 and 112 classes. So again, my name is Dr. Seth E Davis.
Oh, Doc, I got to say one more thing here, just because, and this is just to the audience as well as to the students here, because, you know, you and I share the same walk. Don't ever let nobody think you can't accomplish something because of where you went to school. Wear it as a chip on your shoulder, quite frankly. I knew once I walked in any room that I can compete because of the education and the family commitment I had right here at LeMoyne Owen College. So continue to do that. There's greatness already walking through these halls. There's greatness of history that walk through these halls. And so wear that as a badge of honor, no matter where it may take you in life, all right?
Mm-hmm. And since you did that, I want to shout out to my alma mater, the Tennessee State University. I want to shout out to Spelman in the house, too, you know. Shout out to HBCUs all around the world. We all in this together. So, again, this is your boy, Dr. Seth E Davis. Until next time, this has been Black College Matters.